right, DPW Building Committee meeting is in order. 5 o'clock, June 8th. July 8th. Wow, thank you. Attendance: Mary Beth Carter, Dan Salvucci, Kevin Cleary, Dennis Smith, Dave Cook, Rick Anderson, as well as Scott Lupker from CMS. I will entertain a motion for the minutes from June 10th.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I will. Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I wasn't here, so I'll abstain.
Well, you don't, if you like it. You do.
So, two
Can't vote.
abstains. Construction progress. Scott?
All right. Well, the biggest thing that happened within the last month was just a continuation of the site utilities. They got the water loop done. They got the sewer substantially complete up to the point where they can't go any further without a building. They started some drainage work with some structures and drainage pipes and some electrical underground duct banks started as well. And we had the ground improvements that started up a few weeks ago, and those are actually, as of today, they completed the modulus testing, which is a loaded test on sample piers. They did one at the grouted pier and one on the rammed aggregate pier. And GCI was on site, and so is Helical. Helical, the contractor that does the ground improvements, they own their own quality control as part of the delegated design. We also had some back and forth over the last month, I guess, just talking about whether or not you bring in GCI, who's the geotech engineer, to also do some third-party testing for us. It was like an order of magnitude of around $16,000 for them to also be on site, which they recommended. We thought about it. There is language in the documents where, there's protection, where Helical, being the designer and owning the delegated design, has a quality control program and also warranty on the system. And there's specific criteria that they have to meet, 4,000 PSI for the soils, and differential settlement of less than 0.5 inches, and I think total settlement of equal to or less than an inch. So anyways, we've thought that should go through Greg as the architect, since GCI is the geotech and their consultant. We've handled it on other projects where it's been done. The geotech's done on-site work, and they've handled it as a reimbursable expense. So that was approved, and we've had them on site. They were there today witnessing the modulus tests. Any questions about that process? And that's basically the work that's been done since the last meeting. They're just getting ready to pull the machine out of there and start footings within the next week. So we'll see some excavation and forming of footings and placement of footings. We'll have GCI on site as the testing agency, not the same services. That'll be handled through us. Just like we've done compaction testing for soils, we'll have them inspect the rebar and take samples of the concrete. And, So over the next month, it'll just be foundations pretty much, a little bit of continuation of the drainage work on site, maybe some site electrical as well. Maybe if they move quickly, maybe we'll see some under slab prep for some utilities in the administration area, trench drain area, stuff like that. But that'll most likely be end of the month, sometime next month.
Very
Kevin,
good.
I did get an email from Frank that he's unable to attend this meeting in Vermont, but he wanted to be sure to memorialize the work group's approval of the decision to authorize oversight engineering and the cost. So
Okay.
we just wanted to, formally have the committee vote on that we accepted that to do that.
Okay, so this was was it 12,000?
Was it
Or I guess it
16,100?
is an estimate,
It
but
was like 16.1. They had in their proposal, they had submittal review for like $1,500, which should really be that should just be base fee, to review the submittals.
Right.
They wrote the spec on and should be checking the submittal for that. But the on-site stuff it's almost always, unless it was specified in the contract, which it wasn't, they'd be entitled to a reimbursable.
So, yeah, following the last job meeting, Frank and I had a conversation too. Just to confirm that it was worth that extra money to put another set of eyes on that phase of the project, just because of its importance, with the soil conditions we have. So, to have that testing agency in there looking to make sure that
Makes sense, yeah.
2 or 3 years from now, we don't have a sinkhole or a crack or something forming because the subsurface wasn't properly prepared.
And he called me and I agreed as well,
Yeah.
that made sense to do, so
yeah, as did I. Frank and I talked on the phone, and
you agreed.
yeah, same. And I agreed that from the amount we're spending, it's a
Yeah.
small amount to have some security
That comes out.
and some protection.
It can come out of contingency, or we can pull it out of the testing budget.
Okay.
We have, like, I think, we have, sorry,
6.5 dozen. Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah,
Whatever.
whatever the money we have.
we have line items.
We have line items that
Yeah.
can come from, that's all I care about. I don't care where.
So, Mr. Chairman, if you're looking for a motion, I'll make a motion post facto that we approve the additional testing.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So I just had a follow-up on the footings. So one of the RFIs is in reference to the conflict with stirrups. So we changed the size of some footings, is that correct? So my question is that, do we have to order new stirrups? Are there going to be any delays with the concrete aspect of it?
They haven't said anything about any delays for any of that. It should be something that they can handle from their suppliers. Yeah.
Because in that particular RFI, it was stated that the materials had been ordered and were expected to be delivered on July 1st. And then there were some changes or modifications to the size of the footings, which required wider stirrups. So, because the footings are getting bigger, right? So that was just my only question about that.
Yeah, I mean it's a good point. We can ask them this week at the meeting if they had any issues with making that change, but they haven't said anything to us.
I have a question. Issue with the flooding last meeting that we had with all the rain. Has that been resolved? I mean, you said next door, behind the DPW, is there a pond or something that,
There's a swale.
right,
Yep, no, nothing's happened. I mean, the architect knows about it. Bruce had planned to go in there and just do a little bit of clearing. I don't think he's gotten to it yet, but it's also been now hasn't been noticed really since that sort of one event. So I think it's something we're still chasing it down. We're going to find out like what the cause of it is, and if we have to open up the catch basin over there and check the.
Well, yeah, I think we need to make sure that that doesn't happen again. Once the building is put in
sure.
effect, we
Yep.
can't have it flooding, the floor. So,
Yep.
because I thought
it's
Bruce
away
had,
from the building. It's not. It's actually affecting the abutter. It was kind of actually it was ponding a little bit behind our construction trailers.
Yeah.
And then flowing out into the transfer station's lot out there. And, you know, it could have even been just caused by, you know, a plug or something in their catch basin, you know, and then they were sort of pointing to, because the clearing happened and they hadn't noticed it before, it was result from
Oh.
construction. But I mean,
I think we got to look into it just to make sure that
Yeah.
doesn't happen again.
yep.
How was that memorialized? Is it in the meeting minutes? I don't remember if I saw it.
It's,
I know your minutes. Job meeting minutes.
I think it is.
Project job meeting. Just so it doesn't get
Yeah.
lost, you know what I mean? Whether it's an action item, you know, that
Yeah.
someone's.
We call it being brought up at the weekly job meeting.
Yeah, we can. I can bring it up.
You get it on there as an action item, and
Keep it as-
it may not involve Greg, but you know, I know, I'd spoken with Bruce, and I think we got to make sure we're not sending our water down into. And I think that was some of Bruce's concerns, that if that swale wasn't all put back, we don't want to send our stuff down into the abutters. How does their progress compare to their schedule reality versus their latest update?
Well, I guess they had originally lost. They said they lost their foundation guy, and they were worried about helical. Kept being pushed out. They had helical had a cancellation, so that came reeled back a little bit.
Okay.
I know that they're about 11 weeks behind their with the latest schedule update in June 16th, I think it was. And I think there's a few things going on. I mean, there's some concerns with the management of some of the early action items, like coordination with the utility companies, and right now we have an issue with the electrical service, and the sizing of the transformer, and they want it. They're still in design, and they're looking to add a manhole. But Greg had gotten back to him last week and had said that he talked to his engineer, and the engineer said that they should be able to provide certain information to the engineer through their blue book, I believe it's called, or one of their kind of standards, to be able to do some of the load shedding or load testing or whatever. So we're going to push them on it. I mean, I think there's definitely going to be a lot of room for improvement with a building like this. We've seen it on some other DPW projects where once they get some momentum and they can get the building shell up, they can move pretty quick. But we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna monitor it closely, and I would say, now that we're mostly out of the ground, I would say, with the kind of this site stripping, the ground improvements, a lot of the utility work done. We haven't had to export any soils off site yet, and we had a lot of unit prices in there for that. So we're going to be hoping to capture what the savings there and have some money come back. Once that's all reconciled. But I would say we were concerned for a little while. Some of this kind of slow starting, but they can actually move now with the ground improvements done. They can start foundation work. They're going to start that next week, I'm understanding. So other than the electric service right now, I don't know of any like long lead item issues or anything like that would causing any concern.
You said something about you lost somebody that does the foundation.
They had mentioned in a meeting that they had, because of the early delay, that in the funding, that they lost their foundation subcontractor, and we would respond and say that, you know, in a claim situation that they have to manage their.
So I mean, we're gonna get another. You get another one? Yeah.
Yeah, they got another. I don't know if it's. We don't know who they carry because it's
Okay.
it's a non-filed sub-bid, but
As long as they got a replacement.
they have somebody lined up. Yeah,
So you got the new.
Mike. It's, I forget the name. He told me today, but
This is for the concrete work, not
Yeah.
the actual concrete.
It's not one of the big players in the industry.
not one of the ones that I'm most familiar with. They may be a bigger company. I don't see them a lot, so based on the name, the name sounded familiar, but I haven't seen them on many of my projects.
So they haven't submitted a certified payroll. You could just
No,
no.
none of that yet. We did get a freedom of information request, by the way, and within the last week, we started responding to that today. We sent them certified payroll, which includes in that file the OSHA cards and apprentice cards, and they were also looking for sign-in, sign-out sheets from the abatement workers for Banner Environmental and the Wayne Trade. So,
Where did that request come from?
it came from.
Is that like
I don't know if they were probably not always. If it's. Like
I
I
mean,
said,
it's the
the
best
apparatus.
cover to the union guy.
Yeah.
You want-
It's, I was gonna usually union business agent that's worried about some certified people without the proper credentials
So Justin Grasso, that's probably
Yeah.
laborers.
or even the prevailing wage. I mean, if
Riley and Grasso?
Yeah, laborers, blazers, operators, painters, pile drivers, pipe layers, and all tenders. So that request came from the laborers. union.
Laborers.
I can tell by the name.
So can I.
Yeah.
Miss Quincy? Or Brock? Does Brockton have laborers local? Rick? Is there labor?
723.
There's a laborers in
Yeah.
Brockton? Okay. I wasn't sure how far Quincy went. Okay.
And then I was a little late. I was out last week, and wanted to see what was left, for helical and whatnot when I got back this week. And so I finished the monthly report today, sent this out to the committee. Let's see what probably. Let me run down. I went through the schedule, some administrative items just here about how many RFIs and submittals we've seen to date. Talked about upcoming work activities and a little bit about the schedule. Budget update. We updated the budget here, including these invoices that are on the table today. For recommendation, slightly above where we were last month at 14.7% total expended. We did have one change order that came through that was previously talked about. The PCOs that were included in it were approved, and this is the credit back for those PCOs, $50,000, which went back into contingency. Any questions on the budget?
It's nice to see a negative
Yeah.
percentage. Next January, let's see what.
Probably never happened in public construction ever, I would guess.
-6%. That was funny.
Just
It's making money.
yeah, contingency. The PCO2, and I'm just reading from the last meeting.
Yeah.
So a PCO was issued for the time, the 1 month roughly, that, the funding delay, but no cost. Did Page reserve their right, or do they accept that as a no cost change?
No, they did initially, and then they said that they're going to look for general condition reimbursement.
Did they sign the change order?
They haven't.
They signed the change order, yeah, and it's just they didn't add costs.
Oh, so you think it's a done deal?
I'm not looking to. I'm more just where it stands.
Because that was
It's
they
interesting.
did say no cost, and then the next week they said, well, except for.
I mean, if it's the porta potties, they probably should have, but they should do quickly. I think the contract has usually it's like 2 weeks or 4 weeks. They should send in at least.
Well, there's a notification process. I just shouldn't.
Like we don't want to get it the last month of the project either, so
Yeah.
Just
maybe should hit it head on and clear that up. If it's not signed, then
it's signed. I don't know what the language is. In the change order.
Oh, look at
There.
that.
You get the PCOs, you get the cost, time extension 0.
They just want the days. Is it 22?
Yeah.
Well, this was a time extension, so shouldn't it have a? I apologize. I can't really read that without my glasses. But
Yeah, classes one.
the change order gave them the 22 days.
Yeah.
Okay. I can look at it online.
That's what it looks like.
Just curious. We'll see what it amounts to.
Well, it does say on the e-signature of the general contract indicates agreement herewith, including adjustment to the sum and/or contract time. So, 0 is 0.
Just
I didn't go do a huge schedule analysis side by side going each item. I did a quick look at the end, and I did not see substantial completion listed out on the schedule, so I don't know if I was taking it based on the end date that they're showing, which is the certificate of occupancy date. The last line of the schedule is certificate of occupancy. So that was the 11-week difference from last schedule to this one. So if usually substantial completion can be sometimes it's before certificate of occupancy, so it may not be as bad as what I indicated in the monthly report.
we'd have to read. Substantial completion usually is you're able to use what they built.
Yeah,
If you don't have a certificate of occupancy, we can't use it.
yeah, I think they said final certificate of occupancy, so sometimes you can get
You can get a tap.
yeah. It's
We're a ways away from that. I was just curious. When I saw it. Clearly there was a delay, and that they had no cost. So, duly noted.
Let's see, report. It's the change order I just went through. No safety issues. We talked a little bit about the QC construction testing, which has happened and which is ongoing. Just compliance observations. The site contractor's been doing the daily logs for the SWIP. Those are getting posted to bid docs. And no community issues, and really other than what I don't know if it's a community issue, but what we're tracking is that water issue to the side of the site, and just the public records request that we talked about, and potential issues with that oil tank that was found next to the front building. The soil that was around that got contaminated when they removed the tank has been determined that soil needs to can be cleaned on site, can be treated, and then it can go to the stockpiled on site in the back. The costs associated with that, they would like to get paid for that. I haven't seen the cost yet, but I'm going to probably push back a little bit on this item because of the fact, and hopefully I have a video or some piece of documentation, but I'm going to say that they caused that issue when they removed the tank because they punctured the tank, and the oil came out. So it maybe could have been done. Maybe we'll negotiate it out. We can kind of split it up, split the difference or something. But we'll review that once the
You're saying
actual
they
costs come.
probably could have pumped it or another way.
Yeah, usually if
Cleaning
there's
it
oil in
before.
it, the tank was in good condition. It wasn't leaking. There was no signs of oil in it. It's just that he grabbed it and then it rolled. Oil came out. Then they put some basically stone dust in it to like absorb it up, and then that soil they over excavated a little bit, went all in the back in a pile. It's been covered, and then so it's a little bit. If you had pumped it out, it probably would have been no cost or very minimal cost. Usually that's like less than $1,000 to like clean the tank out and pump it out and stuff. But we still would have been liable for the cost of like removing it, some of the time, the site time. So we'll have to weigh that into the whole thing if they're just looking for the cleanup and not the actual operator time and stuff like that. We may just let it go.
Did we know that tank was there? This wasn't behind the new fuel depot, was it?
No.
No.
Remember they found an old one
Yeah.
then,
Right.
way back when?
Yeah, I don't think it had nothing to do with the fuel farm. Yeah, I mean, nobody knew it was there, so finding
rebuilding
it
or-
is a change. Yeah, I think it was behind the
It was like to the right kind of the right back corner of the front building. Kind of but when you come through the gate there.
Yeah.
what else?
Because there's been a couple of historical issues there, right? In the past, DEP has said, don't do any work in this area because it's, there's some.
I can't remember anything up on the right front corner of the existing break room,
Back right corner.
back right corner.
Yeah.
So,
It's all over near the fuel farm, right?
yeah, the one that I'm aware of was over on the wall just outside of
The middle
the generator, pump out, by the fuel depot, by the existing fuel.
I know they're digging that out when they they had to bury the fuel bill, the new law. It used to be above ground. Or is it now? It's above.
It is the fuel depot is above.
Yeah.
It's in a concrete tank.
I know.
The previous one was over by where the leaf pile used to be.
What?
Over by where the leaf pile, where you dug
Oh, yeah.
there from the old leaf pile. And I imagine those tanks are still there.
So while we're on soils, Mr. Chairman, can I just ask a question about the lead contaminated soil? Is that being stored at a special holding area as well? Soil containing lead, right, has to be treated before it can be shipped off site. Is that correct?
I would have to double check with Andrea on that from ADS. That sounds like the case, but I don't know where that soil is and where it's not right now. Everything has been going to the hills, so whatever she's found and tested has been okay, and it's been going to the back.
Okay.
So whether that means that she just hasn't found concentrations high enough that would require it to get shipped off site, that's a possibility too. When they did some of the initial testing, it might have been.
So more to the town and our preparation for doing some type of searching for funding source for a grant for cleanup, right? I think at the beginning when we were first looking into architects and
Brownfields.
we were given some indication that Helene Carl was going to give us some guidance or some help with looking for grant money for that purpose. I know there was a lot of talk about East End corridor, if we didn't comply with certain regulations from the state, we were gonna be denied access to cleanup funds. That's one of the carrot stick things. So I'm just kind of looking ahead to see if we should be researching what we're gonna do with this hill before it gets too big. Right? That's all I'm thinking about. Is there some grant process underway to look into that?
You're talking about the old dump?
I had spoken to
Sure.
the woman from Andrea Siller from ADS, and she wanted some paperwork to see what we could find, what was there way back when. We've gone through the assessors, we've gone through, and came up with nothing. And she said you may never, really have any good indication to prove that it was contaminated before the town took over the property, because wasn't it a dump site or, before
Right.
we
It
took
was
The entire site was a marsh at one time.
Right, yeah.
All filled in.
They filled it in.
And I remember the issue was, did the town fill it in, or was
Exactly.
it filled in before the town took over?
Exactly.
Right.
And
So,
that we
I don't think
can't
we'll
answer.
ever be able to determine
No,
that.
no.
Right. But I don't think we shouldn't investigate the trying to get some grant money.
Right, no, absolutely,
Yeah.
and that was discussed, but I don't know, I'll have to check with her and see.
Okay.
And I think it was Andrea that we were talking with
Yeah.
about that.
Well, while she's here,
Yeah.
I mean, she'd be
Yeah.
a great resource. That's all I'm thinking. That's something we should be exploring as
So
a town.
can you check, Scott, and see exactly
Mhm.
if there are certain soils that are supposed to be kept separate from the rest of it, or was it all tested and just not high enough with the concentration levels that
Yeah, I
we
used to
don't
have
have
this
to
at the gym.
worry so far, right?
Right. Yeah. Well,
That'd be wonderful.
I think we should just be proactive. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying worry. I mean,
Yeah.
given the fact that we have a community garden about 500 feet away, got lead in the soil, I think that would make the vegetables grow better.
Why the raised boxes, that's what they're,
People start eating it, magnets will stick to them.
The intent right now is the
Andrea
hill.
Stella knows anything.
The hill's going to stay.
Yeah.
That was
Right. But it might become so large, we've got to do something with some of it, right? So take the stuff that's least expensive to treat on site and ship it out
Ship it out.
at
Right.
some point.
Yeah.
Grant money, help us, right? So
Spot.
that's all. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments on construction?
You guys probably my site, so I have a few pictures in here. Just drainage structures, compaction around those.
I was gonna ask, are they still, abating inside the green building? Or is that done?
So they haven't done anything in here yet.
Oh, they have, okay.
No.
Okay.
They just abated the other one. This is the next phase of the project.
so that's the area where the
Right here.
oil tank,
Yeah,
So the tank was right here.
it had to be from one there. I mean, that's old. Because it used to be a garage, the Whitman was a garage.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows what? Yeah.
Here's the
You'll compile.
this is the helical file machine.
They did ram aggregate piers, right? But
What?
did they do helicals or did they do ram aggregate?
Rammed aggregate.
Ram aggregate.
Yeah,
Okay.
helical's the
Helical's the company.
Yeah.
Oh. That's what they call it.
Kind of confusing.
Yeah, that's confused.
what they do with all the soil beside the old
That was started.
leaf pile?
They started with helical.
Drill piles.
It's in the back.
Yeah, it's
Back, they moved it?
573 pilings.
Wow.
And these are little markers here. Just represent where they all go. This was some utility work going on here, and then the wraps going in here. And
Paige doing all that survey and layout?
yeah, I don't think they're doing it. I think they did it on. I'd have to double check with Tom or check the reports, but I haven't
Just curious.
picked up in the reports anybody outside of that.
It's usually GC.
Now, where the old leaf pile was, right beside it to the right side, there's a huge mound about three times the size of this room. That was moved?
I'm trying to think where that is. I can't picture it right now.
It's kind of expanded now.
Yeah, move / expanded.
Yeah, it's
It
expanded.
was
May-
augmented.
Huh?
I mean,
It's
they're
been
gonna,
supplemented.
there was a lot of it that was unscreened loam, and there was sweepings, and they got rid of a lot of that.
Tailings
They-
and
Oh, did they,
But-
they couldn't use it for something?
Well, like the unscreened loam, they said,
Yeah.
I believe they took it over by the ball field, didn't they?
Yeah, we moved it because that was
Right,
the
exactly.
Yeah.
DPW's material,
Right, yeah.
and then since then, all the excavation from the site is kind of
That
just
was-
kept getting
that was-
stuffed back there.
Yeah.
That was peanuts compared to the,
Oh, it's there now, yeah.
what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Mount Whitman.
I just didn't know if we could just spread it out, the old dump site up the big hill or something.
I'm not
Can't
sure.
leave-
I think
can't
they
leave
don't,
the site.
they don't want the dump site's capped.
Yeah, I know that, but you can't
They
put
don't
something
want-
on top of the cap?
I don't think they,
Yeah.
I don't, you know.
No? Yeah, no.
Can't, I'm not sure what would be involved and who you gotta ask, but
Yeah, you don't want to touch that.
they consider it capped now.
Can-
Yeah.
And they weren't, from what I understand was they weren't happy with the way it was done because it wasn't in a liner.
Yeah.
So the best bet I think is to leave that.
It was
Right,
done.
you might not want to.
No,
Yeah, it was done. It was
Like,
capped in,
to Rick's point, it's all piled up there.
yeah, it was capped in what, 78?
Well,
Yeah.
before
See
my-
what it's got and see if we want to get rid of it. So.
Yeah, before my year.
Oh, I used to dump it up there.
All right, we have some invoices
Yeah.
to approve.
3 invoices this month. We had Page Building requisition number 4 for $390,940.20. ADS Environmental Engineering invoice 10461. $1,896.62.
Kevin, do you have that?
And CMS
Huh?
number 6, 17,500 for a total $418,336.82. And I didn't see one from Greg. He didn't send you one. He's supposed to copy us on it, but he didn't. HK didn't send you one, right?
I don't believe so.
Yeah. I asked him last month, and he said he wasn't billing last month, so I must have decided not to this one.
So we need a motion?
Yeah.
Motion to pay?
Second. Any question?
We have a motion second. Questions?
So, construction phase of CMS project, can you give us a percentage? So 70% of 490, is that the percentage? 70,000 of 490, what percent, I guess?
Where we billed to date.
Yeah. I just wondered if we're kind of in line with the GC on the percentage completion?
So we are, we're 29% done. The architects close to 80% done. The environmental's 12.5%. Commissioning 0%. Construction's 11.6%.
Oh, 11%.
Yeah.
So that's kind of in line of where we are with the GC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're at, it says CA services 14.3%, and so in the construction's like 11.6, so pretty close. It doesn't always align perfectly like that, but as ours is just like a flat line.
Right.
Yeah.
But we are on budget.
Yep.
It's just funny that the backup for GC is
Yeah.
40 pages and
I know it.
there's no percentage for you. Yeah. Okay, fine with that.
Just, well, it's not specific to this, so I'll ask it in new business. All right, we have motion second. Any other questions on the invoices? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's it for invoices? Those three?
Yes.
New business. It's not really new business. I was just curious, the material on hand and all obviously they saw like what was taken out of that estimate. We had a call there, maybe a month ago now, but they were given what they need to do, and going forward, if they want to request material on hand payments, they will do what they need to do. The steel in the steel from
Oh, yeah.
all that, and they have their marching orders, what they need to do and what's required.
Yeah,
I guess.
I haven't
And that
heard
was-
anything else.
That was the end of
No,
that.
I haven't seen
Okay.
any other emails.
Okay. I hadn't seen any either. I just, you know,
It seemed to just go away.
it was a lot of money, you know, and
Well, we pushed back and
If
then
it's
he contacted the lawyers and then.
That was it.
quiet.
okay.
Unless we said no, and that was pretty much the end of it.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I think we just made it clear that we were in the business of finding money. I think that was the point.
Okay. Any other new business?
Next meeting?
Next meeting would be
I didn't see anything from Greg.
the 12th. Yeah, August 12th.
5 PM.
5 p.m.
I'll make a motion to adjourn then, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.